Hello friends, in this video I'm planning to work some basic stuff in Flutter so you can at least you can play around with Flutter by yourself, and this is going to be a complete beginner video tutorial. And if you don't have any prior knowledge in coding or programming, so you don't have to worry because Flutter is designed like that. You don't need any knowledge of programming, you just have to play around with Flutter for a while, then you will be able to use it and make your own application or your own website or anything that you are planning to. So in this video we are planning to work around with Flutter for mobile app development. Let's get started. I'm using Visual Studio Code for Flutter. If you want to configure your VS Code with Flutter, I have a video on that. You can just check the description for this video. Go ahead, configure your VS Code with Flutter and come back, continue with me here. But if you're using Android Studio, absolutely there's no problem with that. You can use it. It's same, but I like VS Code environment, that's why. Okay, let's get started. For creating a Flutter project, you have to write in command prompt. First, you have to open the CMD or command prompt. I have it here. Then from there you choose your directory where you want your project to be, then write Flutter create my project name, any name that you want, but it should be all lowercase, or if you want to separate the words you can put a space, you just have to uh, add underline then another name, like that. Just enter, it will create for you in a second. Okay, once everything is done, you will see this message all done. Then you have to go to File, Open Folder, the folder that you have just created. Go to the directory that you are, then you will find that name. Select that folder and click here, Select. This is your Flutter structure. You will have these many files. The only file that you are going to touch for the first time and in this video we will work is inside this lib, and this is all the Flutter files are located inside this lib. Inside that you have main.dart. This main.dart is the only file which the Flutter will check in your inside your lib, and it will run this file only. And if you have many other screens, you will link those screens with this file main.dart, because Flutter will run only this one. It will come inside and search for this function which is main, and it will run ahead anything which is inside this. So right now we have some basic program by Flutter. It's written, but we will clear everything and start our own program from beginning. Okay. As I said, the Flutter will first check out this program. Inside this, we have to write any code that we want inside our application to be appeared. So in Flutter, everything is a widget. Widget is nothing but just whatever you want to write, it will appear in your screen. Suppose you want some text, you just write text and write any text that you want, it will appear inside your application. If you want some rows, some columns, some list, some anything that you want, you just writing the name and defining some properties for it, and it will appear. By properties, I mean that some characteristics for that widget. Like we have text, the font size, the font color, the font family. These are the properties for a text, and so on like that for other widgets. To access widgets in Flutter, you just have to import a library called material. where you have all the widgets pre-made for you. Okay, how to import that? You just write import. You will have this pop-up message, these many things. If you don't have, just press control space, you will have this, then enter. Inside these single quotes, write material. You will have only one Flutter library material, which is this one. Just click this and it will import everything for you. As I mentioned before, that Flutter first will look for this main.dart, and inside that it will look for another name, which is main. It will come ahead and look for this main, and anything which is inside the body of this main will run ahead by the Flutter. So you just have to write your program inside this. For clearing up, we will define some function which will uh, where we will refer to our code differently. So don't worry about that. We just simply will say here we have a pre-made function by Flutter which is run app. Run app. If you don't get this suggestion again, you can press control space and you'll see this one. Click this run app, and inside this you have to specify your uh, home screen app or any class that you have or any screen that you have created. You will specify the name. So right now we don't have any screen, that's why I will leave it here. At the end, put semicolon, and later on when I have created a screen, then I will put the name here. I will do that right now here. Okay, now that we have our background code, we have to design our home screen or any screen that you want. Suppose for the first time you have get started screen or login screen, sign up screen or home screen, anything. We will design that. I'm planning to make the home screen first. That's why I'm just creating class. I'm defining here that make this is just a definition for creating a screen. I will write home page. Then I will write extends. Extends means simply to use some state, whether our class will change later on or not. We have two states in Flutter. One is stateless widget and the other is stateful widget. Stateless widget is a kind of widget which will not change later on. When your app is running, your stateless will not change. It means you have some text. You will write the text in here in your program, and when you run the app, the same text will appear in your app as well. But we have another state which is stateful. Uh, by stateful, you have the option to change the text. Suppose you write some text here, and later on, when your application is running in the device, you can change the text by using some events which can happen. Like by pressing a button, you can change the text, or like that, you can change the container size or anything that you want. So stateful is something that is changeable later on when your app is running and dynamically, and stateless is something that cannot be changed. Anything that you have written in the code, the same thing will appear in your app. So right now we don't want to change anything. We just want to draw some text, some buttons, some stuff, some basic stuff inside our device. So we are using stateless. Just write a stateless widget. Then you will get this suggestion. Click this one and open the body. Once your app comes at this page, it will look for a function called build. You don't have to build the everything by yourself. You just have to call a function build, like you say that, okay, build for me this stuff. Just write build and press control space if you don't have this menu. Click this one, build context, something, something. Just click this one, it will take care of all of these stuff for you. Then go ahead, delete these two lines inside it because they are useless. Inside this build function, anything that you are defining, the same thing will appear in your uh, screen. Let me check something. Okay, here I will return first of everything. Whenever you are creating an application, you have to first make an environment, a blank screen for your app. Then inside that blank screen, you have to put some space, some white space, or you have to define some rectangular shape according to the device height and width. Then inside that rectangular shape, you can go ahead put your everything like app bar, like anything like body, like text, anything that you want. So first, to make that a blank black space for your app, you have to write something called material app. It will take care of everything. You don't have to make the that blank space by yourself, like defining some space in memory of your device, those stuff. Just write material app. The Flutter will take care of everything. At the end of this material, just put a semicolon. Now come ahead inside the parentheses of this material and press Control space to see the options that you have inside this material. As you can see, you can change that blank space color, the anything. These are the attributes that you can change. But for now, we will just define that white space inside this, which I have told you, and that is called home. You're defining the home for that white space. Home of this one, again, you don't have to create the rectangular white space shape according to the device size by yourself. You just have to call that white space, which is pre-made by Flutter for you. Let's call it, the name for that is scaffold. 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 This one, the first one. Enter that and open the parentheses. You will see the options again. These are the properties for the scaffold, that white space that I'm talking about. Okay, first, before going ahead, we will check this match code and see our result, whether our app is having that white space that we are talking about or not. Here, as I told you, we will provide the name for our screen. Here I have home screen, just provide this home screen and open and close parentheses. Now we don't have any error in our main, just save it. As you can see, there's no error here, but there is an error in test. How I know that there is an error? Because there is a red dot and the color of this text is red. Click that and here it will show you that you have one error. Just have to be friend with errors, because you'll have many of it. You see there's a red line under this my app. Why? Because for the first time when you create your Flutter app, your page name is my app. That's why right now you don't have any page called my app. You just have to copy your own name. Like suppose we have here the home page, just copy it and go ahead paste it inside this. Be careful that we have parentheses after each name that you're providing. Just save this and you don't have to work with this part anymore, because this is done in background by Flutter itself. It's just for testing. So you just close it and leave it for Flutter to do it for you. Now we are ready to test our white environment, white rectangle, without having anything. Let's test our app and see what is our output. To test your app, you just come ahead here, run without debugging. Click here and it will search for the all the devices which are connected to your computer. Also, if you have an emulator, it will show that for you. Right now I don't have my emulator running. I will go ahead and run my emulator from here. Okay, now my device is up here. Just click run without debugging. I'm using BlueStack as my emulator because it is a bit faster than the emulator that the other one that the Android Studio is creating for us. That's so laggy for me, but this one is giving me a good result. That's why I'm using this one. This is only the problem with BlueStack. Sometimes it happens. I just have to rerun my app. But don't worry, it will be fine for you. Okay, now everything is fine. As I told you, we by this scaffold we will have this blank white screen according to the screen size. So let's go ahead and proceed add some more things inside this. Inside this scaffold, anything that you draw, it will appear inside your Flutter app. Suppose I told you you want a text, you just write text, it will appear. But first you have to define where you want to define it. In your app you have some parts, like first part is app bar, like those app bars, top bars, which you have seen inside most of the apps, where the title for the page is written like home, about, something like that. Then you have the body part, which is all this stuff. Then sometimes you may or may not have the bottom bar. Okay, first let's start from the beginning. We can add app bar or we cannot add. It's completely optional whether you want an app bar for your application or not. Suppose we don't want for now. We just have to define body and ignore the app bar. Write body and you will get this suggestion here. Inside the body, anything that you want. I want text. Open and close the parentheses for everything that you want. Inside this text you have many parameters, like press Ctrl and space or hover your mouse on the text. You will see these attributes that you have, like data, style, structure, style, alignment, direction. These are the attributes that you have for a text. Now you just have to write your text inside here by opening and closing a single quote. Write single quote and write anything that you want. Press Ctrl S. The good part for Flutter is that it will sync the files automatically. You don't need to stop this and rerun it from here. Just save it and you will see your result out there. It is appeared here because that is the first part where your app is starting, and it will flow down below like that. Since you don't have any app bar or anything before that inside the body, you just have that. That's why it just shown at the very top corner left. You can also make that in the center just by calling something called center. There's a center, but inside the body you can only put one widget. And if you want to add more widgets, you just have to use columns and rows. You need to divide your screen inside into the columns and rows. If you want more widgets to be in order like this, you have to put column, and if you want them to be like this, then you have to put rows. You can also use many columns inside one inside the another. Also you can use many rows or mixture of them, but everything will be in these two sides, like either column or row. For now we will just wrap this, Control X, cut this text and write a center. Open this and you will see these attributes of center. I will specify the child for this center, and inside the child for this I will just paste that text that we had, save it, and anything which appears inside the center, it will be centerized to the screen. Right now our text is so small, we can make it a little bit big by specifying the attribute of text, which is style. Just right after this text that you have defined, put a comma and then write style, any attribute that you want to use, but right now we want to use the style. Hit enter or press the semicolon by yourself. Now after this, if you want to see what this attribute can take, just hover on this attribute and you will see that you can use text style. Just write the same thing, text style. Inside this text style you have these many attributes or these options that you can use. For now we want size. Write size and you will see font size here. Click on that and specify your size, like 40. save it, and you will see your result out there. It's this much easy. Anything that you want, suppose you see that text style, font size, everything is very clear. You just have to know the English word for that and call it. Next, we let me use some other thing for you inside this. Instead of this text, I'll remove the text. Let me remove it very well. Inside the child, I will put a container. Container is it's nothing, just a blank space or a container. You know how a container can be. It's a rectangular shape which is having some height and weight, and you can put anything inside that container. The good part with this container is you can specify manual height by yourself and manual width. You can have some margins, some padding, some decoration, color, and these stuff. We will give some child, and here we will put some text. Container is here. After this text, go ahead and specify some attribute of this container. Like I want to give some height and width for this. Here you just write height, enter. Write some height for it, like 40, then put a comma after each attribute, then call width 40. I want it to be square shape, then put a comma and specify the color, enter. Now let's see what color can take. It takes color. Just write color, colors. If you want to use a pre-made library from the material, just write colors dot. Then here you will get a list of colors, and each of these colors is having a lot more other options, like these 50% opacity and these many colors. Let's take this amber. I don't know which color is that. Okay, save it and you will see your result here. Oh, 40 by 40 is so small. Let me increase this by 100, 140, and 140. Save it. See it. You see, this is our container, and inside that we have specified the text. So this is the very basic of Flutter, how to write your own Flutter app from very beginning, and what are the widgets, what are how we can create our own class and run our first app. In the next video, after this series, it's going to be a series, I will continue with some more widgets, and in one video I will try to specifically uh, focus on some specific widgets like center or like text, and we will go with the attributes for text. Suppose as you can see, only a text widget is having this much attributes. One video we will work on that, or and one video will work with these important widgets. Like we will also have some good design, like we will choose some random pictures from internet and design that, so you will get the logic on how to design by yourself. But for now you got the idea on how to draw some widgets inside your device. Just go ahead and play around with these widgets by yourself. If you face any issue, just go ahead to the Flutter website or search your problem in the internet. You will find a lot of helps out there. Yeah, so this is the video for now. I don't want it to be very long and boring. So if you like the video, don't forget to press that like button and subscribe to the channel, and you will get notified for the coming videos which I will upload for Flutter. Thank you for watching.